Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 49 of the Sweet and Spicy Home Games podcast.
Ooh.
Today is September 27th, 2020. My name is Joseph.
And I'm Yazeed.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm hosting, kind of. We're kind of co-hosts, I guess, is what you would call us.
We've been co-hosts now for 49 episodes. Well, minus 2, so 47 episodes.
Yeah. Well, I've been here for 50. I mean, it's just... Yeah, we're representing our brands today because we said we'd show up looking like NASCARs.
Yeah, buddy. G2 representing people who follow League of Legends or CSGO or Rainbow Six Siege.
I follow none of these, but I do know Red Bull and Logitech, and I've got my...
I think there's a Twitch spot.
Yeah, there's a Twitch one too.
Yeah.
Very cool. But yeah, representing brands. We love brands. I forgot to tell you this morning. I got another COVID test just to be sure. Yeah. Came back negative, by the way. Probably should have told you that before.
How many COVID tests are you?
I do them once a week because I'm very whatever. Okay, I see my nana every weekend.
I do appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where you're like, I feel nothing, but
yeah, it's like that. That's a symptom.
Exactly. Right. For home games topics today, we've got hot reloading. Objectification of game node stuff. We're kind of refactoring there. Did you have other things?
Yeah, I reviewed Joseph's PRs finally, and then I worked on the secret stuff and ran into the modal stuff accidentally. So here we are, again where we were for last week for me.
Nice.
And I'm just like, yeah, by the way, I still have to do the modals.
Nice. Yeah, we'll get to home game stuff kind of specifically later, but oh, right. I'm about to ask you what's up. But the thing I wanted to mention is I got my COVID test this morning. And we were just talking last week about how like people just want to see brands. People identify with brands or whatever. My shirt just says the PlayStation 2 logo. And the guy at the testing thing was like, hey, man, I really dig that shirt. That's awesome. You don't get that when you're wearing like cool shit or like things that you think are stylish. Yeah. It's just brand. I like brand.
Yeah. I've only gotten a compliment 3 times on clothes I've worn. All 3 of those times are from friends, never from a stranger, and that's disheartening. But also, I don't know. I got asked if I was a streamer when I was wearing this shirt once.
It's kind of streamer gear.
It is streamer gear, and the reason I was so taken aback by that, I was like, "Do I look like a streamer?" Like, no, man, I'm super lame.
What does a streamer look like in your head?
I don't know, like somebody who's just kind of like schlubbing it, but also like making ridiculous bank.
But that could be anybody. You don't have a certain look, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't want to be looking like I'm schlubbing it. At the time I was going into the office store.
Oh, you wore this in public.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I like wearing my jerseys. Like, I wear my Bayern Munich jerseys. I have 2 of them, and I have a sweater from them. And then I have, I think I have 2 G2 jerseys, and then 1 Overwatch jersey. And I'm about to buy 2 FlyQuest jerseys.
Wow. Okay. So you're kind of committed. So like, you mentioned that you just don't like brands, and you said that these are essentially just big advertisements, these jerseys. I really didn't see what you were talking about until today, but you
really am wearing like a ton of brands.
Yeah. Kind of explain yourself here. What's the logic?
I think okay, look, here's the thing. I like sports, right? Yeah. And I feel like it's difficult to know what I like based on what I wear. So sometimes I'll wear these. So when we were still going into the office, my friend and I did Jersey Tuesdays. Mm-hmm. So we'd wear a team jersey on Tuesdays or Fridays. So okay. I just had a lot of jerseys to, fill out the week for me.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's just because like him and I both like the same stuff. So, like we watched Overwatch League together. We watched League of Legends esports together. Mm-hmm. I don't know anybody who watches soccer. So that to me is just like me like trying to reach out and hopefully finding somebody else who I could like I don't have a friend who's into sports. I don't have a friend who's into sports. So it's like I want a friend who's into sports.
So it is the thing of like, I just want to kind of put out some part of my identity on my body that tells other people that I have this interest.
Sometimes, yeah. But it's not like I wear these every day.
Right.
Most of the time it's like completely like logoed clothing.
Yeah.
But sometimes I do like to wear like,
I think the most memorable compliment I've ever gotten on my clothing was we were in Bookman's. It was like maybe at least 5 years ago. Probably 7 years ago at this point. Synovia made me this shirt because I told her that Geometry Wars 2 is my favorite game of all time. And this was early in our relationship, so she was like, I don't know. She just wanted to do a bunch of cool stuff like that for me. She still does.
She's putting in a real effort back then.
I know, that's not what I'm saying. But
the fake effort.
That's kind of what I'm saying, but that's not what I'm saying. Anyway, so she made me this shirt, and she just took a screenshot of Geometry Wars and put it on a shirt, and it looked cool, right? That it's just like a lot of.
Sylvia made that shirt?
Yeah, she just screen printed it.
Oh my god! I thought you actually bought that shirt. That was a really well done shirt.
Yeah, she took a screenshot of it and she put it on the shirt, and it's just, a bunch of geometric shapes and whatever. It's kind of hard to know what it is unless you're super into Geometry Wars. It just looks like a weird abstract design. We were in Bookman's and this dude came up to me and he was like, "Hey man, nice shirt." Like he was like looking at me like dead in the face and was like, he really meant it. He's like, "That's a really cool shirt. I love that game." I was like, "What the fuck?"
I'm a friend.
That's so, yeah. I mean, I remember this years later because of that like connection, because it is a way of putting out something where you're like, I like this thing, I like whatever. You're not necessarily trying to brand yourself. You're just putting out some sort of you. Yeah,
I kind of regret making fun of people who do this last week and then wearing this and then realizing like I have a ton of these. Yeah. Like it's not even like I'm like if my closet looked like what I normally look like on this podcast, it would be different because then I'm not a hypocrite. I'm just an asshole. Right now I'm both.
Nice. Yeah, that was it for our merch stuff. We were talking about Travis Scott merch, which was kind of the start of all this. That's why we're wearing our brands today, because it was like, who the fuck wants to wear a McDonald's Travis Scott shirt? But I get it.
You're wearing a Twitch and Logitech and G2 and yeah,
it's all good. I don't judge you.
Thank you.
That hard.
Yeah. The FlyQuest jerseys don't have much branding on it, and they look really sick, and they plant trees when you buy them. So
that's cool.
I'm actually like pretty amped to buy them.
Yeah. You could just plant the tree yourself, right?
I don't have anywhere to plant a tree.
Okay. That's okay. I forgive you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, what's up with you this week? How have you been doing?
I'm pretty living life high right now, because I don't know if you remember yesterday. That sounds a little bit different than I meant. A couple weeks ago, I mentioned that my friend and I were going to be participating in a Teamfight Tactics tournament that happened yesterday.
How'd it go?
We got 6th
out of
20.
Nice.
Yeah. We were 9 points away from first place, and we were 4 points away from second place. So we were like really close, like really, really close.
Did you feel well prepared to compete?
I think that if I grinded a little bit harder, right? Like if I tried a little bit more, we would have been an easy top 5. Easy top 5 for us. We were 1 point away from top 5.
And so this was the game where it's like a chess game where you play out your moves on a turn-based thing.
Mm-hmm. Kind of, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you feel? Like, where did it fall apart for you? What do you think you could have improved on? Like, what were you good at?
Basically, like, I made some really critical mistakes on what pieces I put on the board. And like what I put on those pieces, like basically like where I placed my pieces and what pieces I put on the board in my first 2 matches. It was really rough because basically there's 8 possible positions you can take in a game. I took 5th and 6th, and then I took 1st and 2nd. So out of 4 games, I took 1st, 2nd, but 5th, 6th. If I had taken 4th or 2/5, we would have been top 5. So it really kind of sucks that I just didn't have the knowledge that I needed. Like that's why I'm saying, like if I just played more games, I would have known what to do.
Would you compete again in the same game?
Yeah, if it's for fun again. I got super nervous before we played. I told my friend, I was like, man, I'm jittery. But I love that feeling of like those jittery nerves you get before like a big thing like that. It's fun.
You just like did this online, right? You just joined some sort of lobby and it was competitive, or
yeah. So the University of Florida put their esports team put out the tournament, and it's the first tournament on this this version of the game. So no one knew going into it like what was going to be strong or weak. So everyone was playing different stuff. So it was like kind of cool to see if like what I had been practicing would actually be pretty good, and what I was been practicing was pretty good. I took top 2 twice.
Nice.
Playing it. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of competition, most of my week has been spent trying to beat Alex in Geometry Wars. This motherfucker, he beat 4 of my scores last week on the podcast. I even mentioned it when he did it. He told me. I went and I was all smug because he sent me some like little joke, right? Little jab or whatever at me on Discord. And I spent 2 hours playing those specific levels. I beat all of his scores. And I was like, haha, that's really funny. Anyway, I beat all your scores. I was like feeling myself to the fullest extent, thinking that he wouldn't do whatever. And he didn't beat any of those 4 scores. He instead went and beat one of my other scores. And he did really, really well. Like frustratingly well. And he got himself ranked 48th in the fucking world on this one level. And I was so upset because it's a well-made level. It's not unfair. It's not whatever. I'm just not that good at it. It's a particular kind of Geometry Wars 3. There's a lot of individual levels, and they kind of play with the fundamental concepts that were in the first couple games. So there's a specific version of pacifism where you can't shoot. You have to kind of do some strategery to maximize your score or whatever. And Alex just did really well. I spent no less than 12 hours this week playing that level over and over and over again. I am ranked 50th in the world.
No.
He is 2 spots ahead of me.
God. How is Alex beating you? Because I also see him playing like Plasmophobia all the time. Is he beating you in that game and also playing Plasmophobia at the
Well,
same
he just
time?
got his score once 5 days ago. I have been struggling trying to beat it ever since. So he's kind of coasting while I'm banging my head against the same level. So it's kind of tearing my life apart. I haven't done much this week besides that. My AC broke yesterday, which is what I was just mentioning before we started the actual podcast proper. So it's hard to be in my house and to be alive at the moment. We have to replace the entire AC, which is a stressful, big, dumb thing. So yeah, my week hasn't really been much except for those 2 things.
Oh man.
But there's one other kind of thing in motion in my life right now. So a couple years ago, well, April 2019, so a year and a half ago, Synovia and I got engaged. Our plan was to get married April 2021 because that would be the 10-year anniversary of when we started to date.
Oh, whoa.
Down to the day,
Dang.
April 10th.
Okay.
So we were thinking that was going to be the day, thinking that we would need about a year to plan the entire thing. We had a guest list of 100 people. We had all these plans to do different stuff. We were calling venues and stuff, and this was about a year ago. Kind of seriously thinking about things, but at the time we lived in Seattle, knowing that we were going to move to Tucson, so we would probably just wait till we got to Tucson, which was supposed to be April of this year, or June of this year. Clearly, everything kind of went to shit in March.
Yes.
And so we were just like, well, we're really not going to get married in April. It's kind of unrealistic. It's kind of not going to happen. We just kind of have to put this on hold. Me being impatient, I don't want to be engaged for forever. So I was kind of just saying we should try to do something and still try to hit the April day. And it was kind of this like, oh, we should have it really, really small. And then we can do like a real party later and blah, 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 all this stuff. Long story short, we're getting married in April still. It's going to be a real wedding. We've cut the list down to 50 people.
Nice.
Hopefully things will be better in April. And if not, we'll figure something out or whatever. But Synovia currently is getting, she's looking at wedding dresses with her sister. And it's real. It's like really,
Ooh,
really,
buddy.
it's exciting, but like, holy fuck.
Oh, yeah.
So that's been my week, basically.
Nice.
Wedding stuff.
Nice. I was gonna ask about that, not on the podcast, just
Yeah.
about it, because I remember like you told me like you wanted to do it in 2021. And I was like, 2021 looks like it might be fucked.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we have friends getting married actually in a few weeks. I think 3 weeks from today. So just realized we'll have to figure something out about recording because we record these on Sundays. But anyway, yeah, they're doing a wedding, but it's just 12 people. So this whole kind of thing and realizing it might be possible.
Yeah.
In 7 months.
I think you can do it. You just have to have them like. You just have to like respect it. You know that you can be like, and now we're gonna have a wedding in a barn. Like,
Right.
All right, everyone pile on, sit on each other's laps.
Yeah.
Let's tell stories. Like, hold on.
Tell stories by whispering into people's mouths.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes whether people are being like jokey on the internet or not. But I saw one where people were just like, "Yeah, we're gonna have a dedicated coughing room.
I saw
We're
that.
gonna take a lot of pictures of my grandparents in case something happens." I was like, I don't know if this is a joke or not.
That was like the anti-masker wedding, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. It was so frustrating. I refuse to believe that's real.
There's no way that one is real, because if they're just like, LOL, grandparents might die, and also there's a coughing room, like, come on, dude, that's not.
And also, one of their last names was Fartlander.
Yeah,
that's not real.
I didn't read the name.
Yeah, that's not real, dude. I refuse.
Fartlander, what a name. Nice, man. I'm glad that you guys are tying the knot.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited for it. It's one of these things where like Synovia's, we're both looking at venues, but Synovia kind of has more energy for it. So she's like
looking for venues,
calling people. I don't talk to anybody on the phone, so she's calling people and asking all these questions that I don't even think about. So she's kind of in the driver's seat there. But it's fun to think about what we're doing. And for me, I only had maybe 30 people on the guest list in the first place. So cutting it down to 25 was not a big deal. She had to cut it from 70 to 25 or something like that. So, because it was originally 100.
Yeah.
So, anyway, you're still the best man, by the way. Hope you can make it.
Yeah. I mean, presumably I'm not going to die between now and April. So
yeah,
I'll be there.
Yeah. After April, whatever. But
yeah. I mean, yeah, why not?
Why not?
Well, why not? I've lived a pretty good life, probably.
That's grim. I don't like that. Don't die.
I don't intend to.
So there's a bullet point on here. I forgot one thing, but I can talk about that later. There's a bullet point on here that says League Worlds.
Yeah, the League of Legends World Championship started this week. Yeah. Holy moly. It plays at like 1 a.m. to like 8 or 9 a.m. Mm-hmm. And goddamn, am I so excited for it. Holy shit.
So I think it was on the TV when I came in, right? What do you do when that is on the TV?
I watch it.
Okay. Do you like root for a specific person? Do you only watch specific teams? Do you?
Oh yeah. Okay. So the way that Worlds works is that there's 4 major leagues, right? There's North America, basically America and Canada. Mm-hmm. There's Europe, which is most of like basically the entirety of Europe minus Russia and Turkey. Then there's Korea, which is South Korea, and there's China, which is right now the best league in the world, China. Okay. Then there's a bunch of minor leagues, which are like what formerly was Taiwan, but now is Southeast Asia. There's Brazil, there's Latin America, Turkey, Russia, Vietnam normally is there, but they didn't get passports, so they're not there anymore. Japan, and shoot, I'm missing a couple. Okay, but anyway, the rest of them don't really matter. Australia's in there. Anyway, that's like basically it's like this like every region either sends their best 3 teams, or their best 4 teams, or their singular best team. Minor teams get 1, except for Southeast Asia, they get 2 because they used to be a major league. And then Europe this year and China this year got to send 4 teams. And so right now, like, you're just rooting for your teams to get into like the main event of Worlds. This is the play-in stage. And so right now it's just a bunch of like minor leagues with these 4 major league teams in there, and it's crazy. It's like, it's so hype. I almost always root for Europe when it comes to sporting events or anything. I don't know. I just like their teams more usually. And I've been a fan of the European teams in League of Legends since season 1, so 10 years now.
So you're rooting for the downfall of North America? Is that what you're saying?
North America is usually pretty garbo, and I really like watching high level stuff, but I feel like I need to root for like. Part of the reason I root for the European teams is because I think that their tactics and their energy and like their team dynamic is just more interesting than North America.
So is that the kind of, so what makes someone good? Like, I remember the only thing I know about competitive anything is like in StarCraft a long time ago, people would try to maximize like their APM.
Yeah.
What is it in League?
So in League, there's really like 2 pieces to it. So like one is like your mechanical skill, basically your APM. Like, can you click faster than your opponent, and can you click the right things and aim at the right people? The other part of it is like your team tactics. Basically, like, is your team better at strategy than your opposing team? And if you're better in both, then you can just run train on basically everybody. So like the world champions typically will be better in both of those regards. But you can also have teams that are just like super brilliant, like amazingly smart teams that are just kind of garbage when it comes to mechanics.
Yeah. And
the European teams usually are on par mechanically with the Eastern teams, so Korea and China. And generally speaking, every year they've been like innovators in terms of like strategy. sometimes like Korea will innovate the strategy, sometimes Europe will, sometimes China will. The last 2 years, China basically like set what the strategy was with Europe. It's like Europe and China like set what the strategy was going to be. And North America, generally speaking, they aren't very good strategically, except for one team. And they're also not very good mechanically. So they usually only have like one team that does really well. And that team isn't even in this Worlds. So
if they're not so good, how are they a major whatever?
History.
Just because America?
Just because America, basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's more or less it. Well, that and also that, like, so they're, when I say that they're not good, not very good, I'm comparing them to the other major teams. Compared to, like, the minor teams, they blow them out of the water almost every year. The last 2 years, the only team that really came close was Russia. Their team almost knocked America out, but they ended up not being able to close that one out. So, yeah, I don't know. It's super close right now, but I don't know. It's very exciting for me. I'm super hyped.
Yeah. I mean,
and G2 is my favorite team in their Europe. And my other favorite team is, right now it's FlyQuest, which is a North American team. But I don't know. We'll see how they do in Worlds.
Are they the one good one?
No, they're actually not even the good one. I like their brand. I like their team brand.
You like their brand, huh?
Yeah, they're super like eco-friendly. Like their whole deal is like they're like the ecological team basically. So like every split they've been doing like a big push of like if you buy their merch, they'll plant trees or donate a certain amount of money to like the ocean cleanup stuff. That's why I like them. But their players probably will get blown up at Worlds.
Yeah. Interesting. I guess I just as someone who like doesn't have any awareness of that stuff, I don't watch sports just in general, but I guess like the minute to minute fun for you watching that stuff is just kind of analyzing their strategy, kind of looking at what's going on.
Kinda, but right now it's been super wild. Like, spoilers, but Elsa's episode goes out a week afterwards. So if like you're
this is gonna be up Wednesday.
Oh yeah, so if you're following League and you're like on Wednesday looking at the Sunday games, like you got to pick up a little bit. But yeah, it's like this year, like China might not even get out of the play-ins. Like their number 4 team is losing to Japan and Latin America, which would look really garbo, but then they beat Russia and China like back to back. The Russian team looks like super sick, and the team from Southeast Asia, they look incredible. Like this year's World is nuts, and also like the European representative Mad Lions is getting dookied on by like Turkey, and they lost to America. And like I don't know, man, this year's World has been like super crazy because of COVID and everything. They're like, this is the first time a lot of these people are playing on a stage, and
Sorry,
you can take it.
go.
I'll fill time. Yeah. This is like the first time that a lot of these teams are playing on a stage again since this year started, and like COVID it made it so there's no audience still. So I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
Synovia forgot we were recording, and she called me a little tipsy. Synovia found a dress.
Hey.
Yeah. So that's exciting.
I have a question. Is that a thing? Like I've watched Say Yes to the Dress or whatever that TV show is on TLC, and the bride and family always get a little bit tipsy doing it. Is that like a traditional thing?
I believe it's a tradition. I've never been in the room in that thing really happening, but I also have been a victim of Say Yes to the Dress. I've had to watch it at times. So, yeah, I don't know. Synovia was very excited. She said she found one. She said that she said yes to the dress. So she was very on brand there.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Are you good?
What was the last part of what you were saying?
I was just talking about League of Legends stuff again.
Okay.
Yeah, we can move on. It's all good. I get a little bit too hypey for it, and I realized like I actually said while you were gone, I was like, does anyone even care about League of Legends? I don't know if our viewers care about League of Legends at all. For our one French listener, PSG,
that person doesn't listen anymore.
No.
We should assume we have no listeners.
No.
Because we've never heard anything from anybody listening except for that one dude in California. Yeah, who I didn't know was from California. Anyway,
that's really disappointing.
That's what
I was going to say for the one French listener, PSG is the owner of the Southeast Asian team that's doing really well right now.
See, I feel like they probably were listening, and then we mentioned that we knew that we had a French listener, and they were like, "Oh fuck, that's weird." So then they just stopped.
That's really unfortunate. I regret pointing it out, but I would have pointed it out now anyway. And they might not even be a PSG fan. They could be from like Britannia or something.
Or they could have no idea what League of Legends is.
Yeah, that may not be the case. I think most people who are even remotely into the tech world would know. It's like the biggest esport game in the world right now. By a lot.
I guarantee my coworkers have no idea. Like my old coworkers have no idea what League of Legends is. Anyway, it's a weird thing. We're talking to no one, so that's our audience.
Ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, the last thing I had on my bullet list is I forgot to mention. So I have a record player. Mm-hmm. I've had a record player at my mom's house, and I have a crazy vinyl collection that sometimes I forget how crazy it is. Mm-hmm. But there's some good, rare, interesting, great stuff in there.
Yeah, buddy.
So I set up the record player yesterday. Had to get some fancy cables and stuff like that. And I started listening to the most recent Pusha T album, which I've heard dozens of times. And I'm not an audiophile. I can't tell the difference between digital or anything like that. But there's something very, very, I guess, freeing. I don't know how to say the word. It makes me feel free listening to music on vinyl because there's no stats. It kind of goes into my thing of how I mentioned I love stat tracking, and I get this pressure of I need to listen to Kid Cudi more because he's my favorite person ever, but I listened to him before I had a Spotify account, so he's only my second or my third of all time. So at a personal level, I want to listen to him more to get my stats up, which is a dumb way to think. It's a dumb, like, stat-driven things to, like, change my listening habits for no real benefit. And listening to something on vinyl, it's hard to skip tracks because you have to move the needle to the next little ring. It takes, I guess, a level of effort to listen to the music than it does, more so than it does listening to like Spotify or whatever. And so I just put on an album. I listened to it. Every 4 songs, you got to flip it or change the record or whatever. And I ended up enjoying it more because I can just hear the music and focus on the music, and there was no meta that I get from like all other things I consume music with, you know what I mean? And I just really enjoyed that. I kind of want to go through more of my records and just kind of enjoy them.
Do you know who the Luddites were?
Yes, I do. I'm not beating up Spotify like servers or whatever.
It's funny to me how like technology's almost gotten in your way in some ways.
Well, there is a point at which technology will progress or people will say, I don't want that, which is always true. It's always happened like, oh, we automated your job, fuck off. It's like, well, I don't want that for obvious reasons. You're removing my whatever. When it gets to this point where you're supposed to benefit from things to a point of whatever, but technological advancement doesn't necessarily equate to a better experience. Doesn't necessarily equate to objectively better than something before it.
Yeah.
We were just talking about how shitty video games are. They're more technically advanced than they were before. They can be better to you, whatever that means. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, however long ago. And if we kind of keep progressing, it's like we talked about the Neuralink. That is technological magic. That is like future stuff. I don't want a chip in my brain. I don't care what it can do for me.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, you kind of have to just make your decision that you don't want to continue going with the technology. Like I still buy CDs, or I still bought CDs until Best Buy stopped selling them. But you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to hang on.
Target sells vinyls.
Yeah, that's crazy to me that they don't sell CDs anymore. I mean, Best Buy doesn't, but Target started to sell vinyl in a more kind of
it's like a vinyl section.
Yes.
And you're like the dude if you go into the vinyl section. I'm the dude who goes into the vinyl section. I stop by every now and again.
Yeah, and like Taylor Swift, her new album, I almost forgot Taylor Swift's name. Taylor Swift's name, her most recent album was on vinyl, and it was like a big push at Target, and they had like kind of special artwork or track. I don't know what it was, but some kind of promotion to sell her record at Target, which is a pullback on the streaming thing, on the whatever. The fact that vinyl continues to rise in revenue every year, is something. I don't know what, but it's something.
I feel like the hipsters won.
But it's not even hipsters. It is like my cousin, one of my younger cousins. She just turned. Oh God, I'm trying to 15. Anyway, somewhere around there. She's young. She's a big Juice WRLD fan. and I like Juice WRLD too.
No relation, I bet, between you liking Juice WRLD and her liking Juice WRLD.
Well, no, we're not really that close. Like we don't hang out and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's just she's just a fan of Juice WRLD because she's a young kid, and Juice WRLD's super popular with the youth.
There we go. All right.
And like Juice WRLD was younger than me when he died, right? Like it's a weird thing.
Juice WRLD's dead.
Jesus Christ, it's a running joke.
Why can't I commit this to memory? I'm sorry.
Jesus. Anyway, it's weird being a fan of people who are younger than you and all this kind of stuff. But my cousin, on her birthday, I knew she was a Juice WRLD fan, and I don't like just kind of continuing to give gift cards and stuff like that. So I got her a record, like a vinyl of his first album. And she loved it. She was so hyped about it because she got to hold the thing and look at the artwork and like take pictures of it for her Instagram and stuff like that.
And stuff.
Yeah. And you get liner notes, and you get kind of you get an experience with vinyl that you do not get with Spotify. No matter what they kind of do with all these like weird moving videos and stuff behind the. I don't know if you've seen on Spotify the app, they put like GIFs basically behind the control sometimes. And it'll never equate to vinyl. And so I asked her, I was like, I don't even know if you have a record player, but if you need one, I have an old one, you can have whatever. And she's like, oh no, I have one. Someone gave it to me for a gift or whatever. I just don't have any records. I never really like thought or whatever. It's just one of these things where you just, it's a gift idea. You can give someone a record player. It's kind of whatever. And the same way I was like, oh, I'll give her a record. It doesn't really matter. But now she's getting into vinyl. A 15-year-old.
Dang.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So it's just a cool thing. I think that's a thing that people are going to like. It's peak music consumer product. I don't know.
I don't know. I think there's like that a thing about like authenticity almost of that experience is different than just playing a song on Spotify. I listen to music like all the time. I barely even think about it sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. You can't play vinyl as a secondary activity.
No,
because it demands your attention because you literally need to flip it every so often.
Or move the needle if you want to skip a track. Or I assume if you were really crazy, you could change the RPM to meet the beat of the song. No.
Well, you could depending on the record player, you can change it from 33 or 45, or you can also do 76 or whatever the other one is. That's more whatever, but you can't you don't have much fine grain. Yeah. Oh, okay. So like yesterday I was playing Mo Money Mo Problems, the single on a thing, and I sped it up to 45 RPM and it sounded funny, and that's like basically the extent of whatever. But it's cool that you can do that because you see the mechanics of like how that's happening. You see the thing spinning, you see the needle there, and you see how it's working. It's like I said, it's an experience. Yeah. So I don't know, I just really enjoyed that thing. That whole thing. I like I said, I was going through my record collection, and I've got some shit in there, like some cool stuff. So I just want to kind of go and re-experience things I already know I like, but on vinyl. Yeah.
That's super cool. I approve. Even though I've yet to use my record player, I have records that I'm very excited to listen to.
That you've been excited for
like
years.
Yeah. I'm just lazy when it comes to getting stuff for myself.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is you need a speaker setup to plug that in.
That's what I need to buy. Actually, that's what my goal is currently. I'm gonna get a speaker setup, but first I need a dining room table.
This is Sapphire Space though. What's she gonna do?
She's gonna sleep under the table, I assume. Not because I force her to, because she just likes to be under stuff. She sleeps like 90% under my bed during bedtime.
Yeah. I kind of get that. If I could fit under beds, I would do the same.
Imagine it's cozy down there, but her butt sticks out, so it's like really funny to me when if I'm like wake up in the middle of the night, I have to like check to see if I'm gonna step on her butt.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I had for What's Up stuff. Is it time to move on to home game stuff?
It's time to move on to home game stuff.
Cool. It's weird we got rid of the music for this. I feel like they are still distinct units, but kind of whatever.
It's not just like one section, but like they flow better, maybe.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you saw, but I started chunking up our podcast.
I saw that you did, but I was like, I will listen to like 50% of the original. I don't need to listen to me again over and over. Yeah, no. I think it's kind of one of these things. Well, okay, what do you think of it before I tell you what I think of it? I think that if our goal is to build easily digestible chunklets of our podcast, that's probably a good one. if the goal is to force people to dig through the podcast looking for the interesting parts, then then it's probably not a good idea. But I think we're more in line with like they should just pick out what they're interested in.
Yeah, because like you said that your sister, for example, likes listening to us talk about the regular stuff, but doesn't care so much about the technical stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that probably exists for other people, maybe, or maybe the inverse, where they don't care about.
I wonder how many people just listen to the song of the week and then move on.
0. That's okay. That number's at 0
Nice.
right now.
All right.
So no one gives a shit about that, but we'll still do it because I like doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole thing is like just for people to be able to find what they want instead of having to skim through 40 minutes of us talking about Roblox or whatever before they get to what they care about. So yeah, that was kind of.
Spoken about Roblox?
You spoke about Roblox because you were talking about the guy on Reddit who was like posting about why he has no friends on Roblox or something.
I don't even remember.
I do. Anyway, that's the whole thing. So yeah, that was just kind of the I guess like a housekeeping thing, just kind of trying to split up content so people can more easily get what they want, or they can listen to the full thing, like I said. So.
Yeah, real quick, I know we joked about it, but I very much still just turn my brain off and go for however long we're going to talk on here.
Like, yeah, you just black out and there's a podcast at the end.
Yeah, very much. But yeah, man, how did home games go for you this week?
Home games was so I basically had planned yesterday to do a couple things. I wanted to update my objectification stuff so I can make my video of building slaps. And I watched your video and I heard you mention that hot reloading would be nice. And so I had planned to do all this stuff yesterday, but like I said, AC broke. So when it's 80 degrees in the house, I do not want to sit in a hot room with a hot computer running, writing code. So I just did a little bit of stuff. I already had the objectification stuff for the Squish library done and tested and kind of that stuff. So the next step was for me to update the home games root node stuff, the thing that kind of renders the bezel and the buttons and the modal and kind of stuff like that, the settings modal. So I had to update all of that to objectify all the parameters. I also updated so you don't need a color anymore. It's not required. So you can just have a fill or whatever. And that whole thing. So basically I got home games to run a game with the home games root, but I didn't update any of the other games. So they all still break if you try to run them individually. And I started on a test that allowed me to just render a, solid color background to make sure it still worked. And it did. So that was kind of my objective. But for people who are unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, I don't know terminology. That's why I'm calling it objectification. There's like words to describe what I'm talking about. But basically, when you create a game node of a shape or text or asset type, you need to know what arguments go in what position. So you have to say, I know that the size is the first parameter. I know that the position is the second. These are examples. I know that the text is the third. I know that an on-click function is the fourth, etc., whatever. So, for example, if you only want to put in position, color, and on-click, and that's the first, second, and fifth parameters, you have to put in your first, second, and then a null, and then a fifth, which is ugly code. It's not super clear what you're actually passing. It's not really obvious, and you kind of have to remember this order. When I say objectifying parameters, I mean I'm turning these parameters into a JavaScript object, which have keys and values. So I can say the key is on input, the key is player ID, the key is whatever. So I can selectively say exactly what I want. And these parameters can be parsed by the game node classes to do what you want without needing so many nulls or kind of you have more clarity on that kind of stuff. So that will require a refactor of basically everything currently creating game nodes. But that's kind of call that custodial work that I'll do at some point. Which I said I already did for home games root. So generally speaking, that's what I'm talking about with objectification. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I know to you it makes sense, but yeah.
Hopefully to everyone else it also makes sense. I left some comments on that one.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw.
I didn't because I don't get notified of anything that you do.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I have no idea what's going on.
I assigned you back to the PR, so hopefully we'll get them going forward. But basically, I requested some changes on there. What I was saying was I think we should destructure the argument as it comes into the function. So you build your object, you call the function with that object. I think on the callee side, the one that's been called, we should destructure it. And my argument there was like we could destructure it and allow people to pass in additional props that we weren't expecting and still put them into the game node. So they don't need to have the game node and then put a prop in afterwards. They can just pass in like, a thick object, like with extra parameters. And what it would allow us to do going down later is if we wanted to write our own, I forget the name of the package, but I think it's called like prop types or something. Basically, it verifies that the props, like the arguments sent into the argument are of the correct type, and we could protect that way against somebody send us the wrong like information. And then with a destructured version, you can just loop over the named ones and verify that their prop types are correct against a like pre-built list of like this argument should have this prop type, basically. If it doesn't.
That, I think, sounds good on the destructuring thing. So are you proposing that someone can just pass in kind of arbitrary key values and we'll set all of them on the dot node or on the class itself?
No, we just add them to the node, like this dot node.
So wouldn't that allow for us to say, for example, we have kind of a HG whatever property, someone can pass in that same key without knowing that they're overriding something?
Yeah, but we could always throw away those keys if we wanted to. But if somebody knew what they were doing and they really did need to override that key, I think we should let them. Because I doubt that they would come up with that on their own. Or we could even do a console warn if they were using it and just say like, hey, you're using a key that's maybe question, like maybe don't use that key if you don't have to.
So, okay. I see what you're saying. I think from my perspective, the dot node is this is home games stuff. Like these are the properties that the kind of engine, the kind of guts know about, and it will always look at the dot node, dot on click. These are things that we can kind of enforce rules against. You can set whatever property on your object as long as you're not setting dot node. We have this problem throughout because it's JavaScript. You can do whatever you want. But to me, setting a property on the object is something that belongs in the game instead of just like a convenience that we expose that says, give us all these properties and we'll set all of them on the dot node, which is the kind of home games node, the actual object the home games thing is looking at. And you can set your properties outside of this node. I think having that separation makes more sense than just allowing you to put everything on the dot node. Because like I said, the dot node to me is the separation to make it more clear. This is home games and this is the shit I put on.
Yeah.
Instead of combining it.
I'm willing to accept that argument. Really part of the reason I wanted to destructure it originally was because you are looking in memory twice for the same value, and I was like, let's not do that. And I figured that with the destruction we could allow for that, but I do agree that we don't necessarily do that, and we can instead just use it to eventually get prop type checking.
When you say looking in memory twice for the same thing, what do you
you say like the arg dot 2D coordinates once in a check and then once when you're adding it to the node itself. So you're going into memory twice to get that same value. Whereas if you destructured it, you'd have it in, you wouldn't be looking it up twice.
We would still have we would essentially be doing a check on what we need to have, which is what we're currently doing. We would have that first check. You need to have dot coordinates. You need to have whatever. And then you would iterate through all the keys and do the same thing and read through memory again anyway. You would need the check and assignment. I'm going to look at args to see if this exists, and then I'm going to look at args to get the values.
Oh, yeah, but with the destruction, you would just get the value or undefined. So if it's undefined, then you leave your check where it is, right? But instead of saying arg dot whatever, you just say like 2D coordinate, if 2D coordinate. So you don't have to say like if arg dot 2 arg dot 2D coordinate.
So destructuring is okay. There's a function that has parameter x and y. I pass in an object with key x and key y. And they're just magically passed to the function.
Yeah, it takes the form of like parenthesis, open curly brace, and the argument name, comma, argument name, comma, argument name, close parenthesis, close curly brace, close parenthesis. Basically, you whatever the arguments that are passed in, you can name them as long as they match up with what the object is passing in.
God.
And if the object doesn't have those keys, they become undefined, or you can just set a default in the same way that you can default like in JavaScript regularly. Sorry.
Java.
Jeez, yeah, I messed that one up.
We should redo all this in Java.
No, I don't remember enough about Java to do that.
I just real quick side note. I had to parse JSON, HTTP like JSON response this past week in Java, and I was like, surely there must be a JSON.parse equivalent. Nope, fuck you. You got to have a class mapping like basically the entire JSON structured like object. So I have 4 class. Anyway, it's a whole thing. This is why I love Python and JavaScript, because you have the freedom to just be like, fuck it, give me an object.
Yeah.
Java does not.
Yeah, like a loosely defined set, that's better. I love heterogeneous and like dynamically typed languages.
So you're using words that I just don't comprehend. I mean, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But it's like, what the fuck? You sound like a programmer.
Sorry.
No. It's not a problem.
Yeah, that was like my big thing on that one is I think we should destructure it so we don't need to go into like search through memory to find it. And also like if we eventually wanted to do prop type checking, we wouldn't call prop type checking, or like archetype checking. We could implement that easier with everything destructured.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think the node separation thing would make it harder to do because if we want to keep the idea of .node as the actual listenable object by the actual game engine that kind of has the guts of what it's doing, and that separate from the properties that you assign kind of willy-nilly to the actual kind of wrapper around this node, if we wanted to maintain that separation, which I would argue I think we do, I think we should, then it would be this weird, nasty logic of, okay, everything that you've passed me in the parameters, I'm going to set on .node that I've like named as things. And then everything else just goes on this, which is kind of this weird, I know that everything you pass me needs to go in 2 different things, and I'm defining the separation here.
We cannot do that part. I'm okay with not doing that. I do still think that the destructuring should happen, and if they do pass in additional stuff, we can just toss it away. We can just not contend with it.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. I'll fight you. Just joking. Okay, cool. So I'll respond to your comments. I haven't seen what you.
Most of my comment was talking about destructuring it and then adding the remaining arguments to the node. But you can just ignore that piece and just take a look at what I was talking about with the destructuring part of it. Because I do think that there is a benefit there.
Yeah.
Even without doing the like additional argument stuff.
Sure. Yeah. Sounds good. Did you also look at the web PR that I had for fixing the aspect ratio stuff?
I did. I love that one. That one got a big old thumbs up.
Awesome.
And then your bezel one, is the bezel supposed to only cover like the top 50%?
No.
Okay.
Is it fucked for you?
Yeah.
Oh, weird. Did you?
The top 50 has the nice like bezel, and the bottom 50 is like either no bezel or like a gray bar that just kind of goes around it.
I forgot to update like the sample config because it reads the bezel values from your config. It might just not. It might be pulling undefined and getting weird fucking behavior as a result.
But that was on the home page, like the home game's home dashboard.
Yeah, but it's all using the same bezel logic.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So that dashboard is still calling the stuff to render that bezel. And that bezel is expecting a bezel X and bezel Y size things in the config. And if those aren't there, the math is just getting fucked along the way because it's dividing by 0 or something.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, well, that was part of the other thing. The other thing was I took a look at how you were doing your math, and I simplified it, but also question marked it, because I was like, I don't know why this works.
It's like I said last week, it works, and I don't know why. Like, I'm sure I could whiteboard some shit and be like, yeah, clearly this is how this math works based off of this. I could write a proof.
Here's the thing, though, is I broke it down to figure out what your actual calculation was, and I was still like, I don't know why this is working. Basically, you're like taking the scale like the scale.x, for example, and you multiply it by the x value minus 50, and then all of that, you add 50 to it.
Minus 50. What the fuck is that about?
I
should add comments here.
I think I also said, I was like, some of these things like, I don't know why this is working. Maybe I had some comments to it.
Yeah.
There's another, I don't remember if it was which PR it was for, but I was like, hey, I remember you explained why this was really important. Like where you squish then unsquish the thing. I was like, I remember you explained to me on the podcast why it was important. I have no recollection though at all. Like, can you hit a comment like why we?
It's because it's essentially a copy of the properties that we need into its own object, so that way we can modify with the scaled stuff. I'll add a comment, but that's what this is for. So I'm not modifying the object directly because otherwise I'm actually changing your game node data.
Okay, I see.
Because object.assign was not doing that, even though I thought that's what it did. But
object.assign is not deep, which is probably what you were running into.
Yeah.
Because JavaScript is partially passed by pointer and partially passed by value.
Yeah, that's programmer shit. I don't know anything.
But yeah. I mean, overall, I thought it looked pretty good. I'll take a look at the sample config stuff and maybe change my comment on there because I was like, hey, man, I was like, why is this only the top half? I don't actually know.
Yeah, I should add a check or at least a default. I should add a default in that config so it's just defaults to 15. Yeah, anyway, that was a stupid thing.
Yeah, and the math, I still don't understand why it was working, but it looked like it worked, at least on the...
It does until you put the bezel size to above like 30 and then it's fucked again. I am not a mathematician. If only one of us had a degree in math, that'd be really helpful.
Listen, I'll sit down and actually break down like what the bezel stuff should calculate down to. I just looked at yours and I simplified it because you were doing yours in like 2 or 3 steps and I was like,
Yeah,
it's gonna be one assignment, I think.
I had what felt like a Rain Man moment where I was just like, I just like saw the matrix in front of me and I just like fucking did everything and it worked. And I even showed Zenobia and I was very excited and she was like, oh, cool. I was like, you don't understand.
You don't, yeah. Honestly, I was impressed. I was like, how did he come up with this math? Because it's not easy.
But that's why it's like line by line. I was just typing like random shit.
Oh, I see. And then you just copy that line over and over again. I was like, yeah.
I didn't copy anything over and over.
It looks like you do like a scale of the x and the scale of the y is exactly the same, but you change the x and the y, and then you do it again later on.
You're right. I did do that. Yeah. I should have like a common scale function somewhere.
Yeah, I was going to point that out too, but at the time I was just like, let's first figure out what this math is actually for. Like, I was like, what is this math calculating out?
That's actually something I wanted to mention. You just mentioned the squish and unsquish thing, which is actually, it adds about a millisecond or 2 for every thing there that it does, the render. And that's not ideal. So I actually realized I don't want to do that at all. I want to be able to pass a scale factor to squish itself. So when I say, hey, squish this game node, but everything that can kind of be rendered, scale it to this value. And then instead of needing to squish, unsquish, and then do the math on the unsquished stuff, the unsquished stuff is just mathed already. Yeah.
I like that idea.
It's more performant, and it also allows the squish function to handle that scaling instead of the squisher in home games doing that because it is a squish thing. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Cool.
But like I said, step 1, I think for me was like, I don't know what this is doing, or I don't know why this is working. Honestly, I was like, I don't know what the factors are that lead into this actually performing properly, but okay.
I was trying to do this math thing where I was even doing the numerator of the left hand side times the denominator of the right hand side is equal to the denominator of the left times the numerator of the right. So then this is my x, and then kind of I was doing the math. Yeah, I was doing the work.
Yeah, that's a proof. That's a mathematical proof. So okay.
But my math constantly was wrong, and I had no idea what it was. It was just missing something. So then when I was like, oh, this actually needs to be 100 minus this, because I just had like a fucking thing. You know what I mean? I was deep in it. And so anyway, I'll go back.
That was the other thing. You had it like multiplied by 100, and then immediately after divided by 2, and I was like, so you added I was like, so that's 50.
Yes, okay, but there is some clarity in the numbers there. I mean, like hold on one second, I have to sneeze. This is dumb, and it went away. It's like when you're doing days or times, whatever as constants. You're just like time, const day hours is equal to 24 times 60 times whatever, because it's the number of milliseconds, because you're making it clear it's this times instead of the hard coded 86,400 or whatever it is. I see. So I was trying to do that instead of just doing the like result of the math. But yeah, you're right. I just need a comment.
Yeah. But like I said, it looked good on the top half. So good job. I really did like the home games web version. I was like, give that one a big old thumbs up. Put that one right.
That was like one line gone.
Like it works though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice.
That one I like the most because it was like that fixed my problem of like I can't see anything when I'm doing. You can see it when I did my recording of like, well, one side is like super aft because like my code is on the other window.
Yeah, I was basically doing this stuff. Like, well, that one I was like, oh, if it's already fixed, you just need to review my pull request. And then the other one was the hot reloading. So I was like, I'm trying to help you here. You know, I'm trying to solve your problems.
Actually, I didn't see a PR for the hot reloading.
I didn't put a PR. I sent you a text. I just put a branch.
See, okay, I misread it. I thought you said I put out a PR, and I was like, there's no PR. But I also didn't reread the text. I was like, whatever. I got to do something for Home Games Podcast Day tomorrow. Yeah,
well, that was me yesterday. I was like, fuck, it's 80 degrees. I have nothing to talk about tomorrow. I got to just do this shit. So the reason it's not a pull request for my hot reloading stuff. So hot reloading, for what we're talking about, is basically we want to be able to change the code of anything kind of in the game server, or it's the kind of code that it's calling. So any of the games, any of that kind of stuff. And without having to restart the server just kind of knows that something changed and then reboots itself. Essentially, that's what we're talking about. So I was looking into ways to monitor file changes like on a system level. And apparently on Linux, you get some sort of process, you get some sort of thing you can listen to say that this file has changed, but that wouldn't work on Windows or anything. So because it's Linux, Unix, whatever system shit that I don't understand. So basically realized I just need this to work, and I don't need it to be good. I don't need it to be correct. I don't want to install some other library. I don't want to do anything like that. So this is the wrong way to do it, but this is how it works. It is a node script that will, at the beginning, start up the game server process, right? The same way that you would. At that point, every second, it monitors, it'll go and read your entire directory and put every file as a buffer into a map of path to file buffer. And it's very fast. Even on my shitty computer, it's very fast. And so it'll basically build up this cache of this file name has this file content, and every second it'll run. And if it sees anything is different from the last time it ran, it'll kill the process it started and start up a new one. And it works. The only problem is I'm doing this with I forget the actual function I'm calling, but essentially it's starting up a child service, but I don't have the ability to kind of get standard out and standard error from it once it happens. I only gonna get the initial standard out and standard error when you run the process, but you don't get the standard out from the process. So I need to update so it can, I think it's like spawn child or fork or one of these things where I can listen to the events from the children, so I can put your logs to standard out. Because currently if you try to log something or if an error happens, it just gets eaten. Then the hot loader will just restart because it's seeing a different, but it's just so that's why it's not a pull request, it's just a branch. But I figured just for kind of our purposes, because again, I wanted to record my video and stuff, so I wanted to be able to have just Sublime and just a browser, and I also wanted to have a quarter up for my face, just because I'm like, I just want to add my personality to it, be like, hey guys, or whatever, and the thing. So it'll be that without having to bring up a terminal to start up the thing. So it's purely selfish, but also for you.
No, honestly, I think I spent maybe like 5 minutes just killing and starting up the process again. But I mean, I do like Hot Reload. I use it at work, and I enjoy it. Once we have that one ironed out, I think that'll be a big productivity bonus.
Yeah, cool.
What did you think about the video, by the way?
It was cool. I think it would benefit from being cut up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I watched an hour and 20 minutes of it. I was like, okay, I see where this is going. You know, you
missed the best part then.
What's the best part?
The best part is the last 25 minutes where I legitimately just go crazy, and you can hear in my voice that I'm a little bit frustrated, but I'm trying not to show it.
Well, so yeah, I guess I was just watching it, and I think kind of a more split up, like this is this part, this is done now, this is this part, to kind of complete into the thing. I think that would be like my goal. Yours was cool. I liked watching the kind of thought process that you had of kind of starting from the beginning. I think it was quiet for stretches at times, and it's like, I know it's very hard to keep talking when you're thinking, especially when it's like, there's pressure to talk because you and there's this like weird thing. It's like we said, we're streaming kind of.
Yeah.
And it's that thing of like, fuck, I'm just walking forward in this game. Oh, you guys see the nets or whatever? Like just fucking talking about random shit. Yeah. And I'm not saying talk about random shit. But there were times where it was just like, I know that you're deep in the weeds in your thoughts, but like,
yeah, I definitely don't verbalize my thoughts a lot of the time.
Yeah. And I guess from my perspective, I don't know, because I know exactly what you're talking about because I know how home games works. I don't know how much context the general audience would need, or if they even kind of can follow along. I think it makes sense what you were talking about, like this, the game node needs this, the home games engine will do this, the squisher, whatever. I thought it made sense. But yeah, no, I liked it overall. I think, just the main thing is like in the moments of silence. I think one of the things I was thinking of is I want it to be something that you can follow without watching. I don't need to look at the code to know where you're at in your process. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was kind of the only thing. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
I think definitely cutting it up would have probably been helpful because I would have been a lot less frustrated. There were definitely some parts where I was just like, why isn't this working? Like in my head, I was like, this is working. And then when I try to work it, it's like it threw an error. I'm just like, I don't know why.
You did that at that one point where you cut it and then it was because you were passing in the parameters that you copied and pasted.
I actually cut it and then I went to my mom's house, came back and was like, all right, let's get back into this. And then I saw the error and I was like, why am I so stupid? And I was like, why am I so stupid? And I realized like you were just real butthurt that was failing.
Yeah, I think maybe
I needed to cut it up in like 30-minute chunks probably. Because I think every 30 minutes I accomplished something. What I really wanted to do is I wanted it to be like, and now we tagged a square. So like you can see like we started with square and we ended with tag. And I was like, that's the goal. We didn't get there though.
Yeah, that was another thing. I'm not sure. So like,
we did get there. I did get there. At the very last minute, I do tag a square, and I was like, and it changed color, and it's good to go.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? My whole thing of like no edits. I mean, I don't know if that's actually a good idea. My original idea was sit down for 2 hours, accomplish something, stop the video, start up the video, and do another stretch. So there's no edits. It's just stops of this is a chunk. This was a chunk. This was a chunk. I don't know how realistic that is, especially because when we're building something that's not dead ass simple, like what you were doing is not dead ass simple, you're going to run into things where you're like, oh, fuck, this doesn't work. Oh, shit. And like that kind of stuff. And that thing, you have to be like on the fly, be entertaining and, kind of thoughtful and also fix your problem,
fix this thing, yeah.
Which is very hard to do. And I don't know how realistic it is to expect that or to even do that. So maybe I'll kind of have more thoughts on that after I finish mine, because I want to do mine at some point, hopefully this week if my AC is repaired. I don't fucking know. Whatever, I'll do it, and if it's hot and I'm dying, I'll just go through it.
Bro, let me tell you, an hour into it, you're gonna be like, kill everybody. I don't want to do this. I'm real butthurt because my stuff's not working. I don't know why, and I get like that when I'm under it. I don't know what it is about me when there's pressure, but I get salty quick.
It felt like I was interviewing you for a job and you didn't know it. It felt like you were like trying to explain your thought process, which is what you do in like a job interview. And then when you hit the part of the problem that the interviewer wanted you to get to that was hard, it's like the challenge is talking through that. You got to like really think out loud, which is not something either of us do.
No.
So it's kind of I kind of do it sometimes. I call it rambling, but it's really thinking out loud. But yeah, anyway, I'll have more, I guess, valuable input after I do mine, because I want to know. I need to be in the same spot that you are in to like really know, you know what I mean? But I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool.
Nice. I think I think one of the big things I should have done beforehand was taken a look at the collision function first and known how that worked instead of looking at it on the thing and being like, how does this work? okay, let's use it, not really knowing how it works, and then going back to the move test and be like, but they don't touch, and then being like, but I need them to touch.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's actually where most of the silence came from, was you were just, there was a part where you were just like, like really 45 seconds. It's like, I see what you're doing, but like, talk through it. This kind of like my thing. So maybe like, yeah, the preparation for knowing like what functions you're going to call.
Prep better.
But that was just one. I mean, you know how the guts of the stuff work, and that was just kind of you using a new utility kind of on the fly. It's like, okay, well, you kind of have to figure it out, and maybe it's interesting for someone to watch you figure that out or whatever, the whole thing. And it's good for me to see like you're a person kind of in real time trying to read my bullshit code. That's valuable for me. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'm glad that we kind of thank you for doing that. I'm just amazed constantly that you still do this with me, because this shit is like work, but it's for free. So, yeah, thank you for doing that.
I enjoy it.
As long as you enjoy it, I enjoy it too. I have no other home game stuff.
I guess just real touch. There's not a lot to it. Basically, like 2-3 weeks ago now, we talked about the secrets file, and basically what we wanted to do was give people an error or like a visible warning that they're missing their secrets file, or at least the secrets that this thing is using. And I was like, oh yeah, easy peasy to do. And I added that piece, and I was like, now I need to alert them. And I was like, wait a second, but that needs a modal. And I was like, wait a second.
That's a common thing.
I was like, I needed to just do the modal thing first. So now this week, I'm going to make the common modal thing. And then that PR will come out. Then the secrets PR will come out using it. And then I'll put out another video, shorter video for color tag.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds good. For the modal thing, I don't know how you want to do it, but essentially what you need to do, I think I mentioned this last week, but what you need to do is, if you look at the home game's root, the constructor, it adds things to the game, or to the, I don't know, you'd call it game tree.
The base root.
The base, in a very specific order. It adds the bezel, it adds the game, and then it adds something. But basically that order is a tree. So if you want to do a modal that will always eat over everything visible, you have to put it as the rightmost child of the tree. So just remember that that's how that works. You can build however interface you want for that, and I'll critique it as I see fit. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be my goal for this week. That won't be recorded because I'm sure I'll run into something. Yeah.
How does this work?
Yeah, you should really watch the last 20 minutes of the video. I listened to it again, and I was like, yeah, boy, you should have just called it a day earlier and been like, we'll adjust and figure this out later.
Yeah. All right, I'll go back and I'll finish it. She makes an appearance in every one of them, you know? I don't know. Last time she wasn't, the dog, Sapphire the dog, was not super audible in any of this stuff, thanks to my incredible audio editing. So
that's true. I'm glad, because she was slurping up water and just crunching out on kibble too.
Yeah, she was going hard. She doesn't even care that we're recording a podcast over here. Jesus. It's time for Song of the Week?
Yes.
Song of the Week. Okay, what was your song of the week?
My song of this week was "Other Side of Paradise" by Glass Animals.
I've heard of this band. Have you made one of their?
I have. I think I did. Maybe Black Mambo. But yeah.
Okay.
Very fun song. I like it a lot. It is indie rock, maybe. I don't know, indie pop, indie rock, somewhere in there. Not a lady singer. They are very fun.
Okay.
I like their music a lot.
Kind of upbeat, or is it more?
Other Side of Paradise, sound-wise, the vibe is an upbeat vibe. The words are not upbeat.
It's like pumped up kicks type flow.
Not quite that dark. It's more like getting cheated on is what the moral of the story is. But very fun song. I think you might enjoy.
Very fun song. It's like getting cheated on.
I mean, I'm not. I'm not the person in this song, so it's okay.
Yeah. Nice. did you want to talk about what you thought of my song of the week last week?
Yeah. Can I get the name of it? Because I can't read it from here.
Yeah, the name of the song is Spurs 3, and it was by Conway the Machine, featuring West Side Gun and Benny the Butcher.
So, okay. I'm not going to talk about the rapping, because there's some lines in there. Like, there's some sick, just disgusting lines in there that I really like. Like, one of the lines, legit, when I heard it, I was like, oh.
Was it
it's the 40K
40
off.
shirt?
Yeah, I was like,
shirt.
woof, dude, that's brutal. But I'll talk about the beat for a minute. The underlying track really reminds me of like industrial, like sounds,
like warbly,
like sounds of industry almost. Like there's a lot of stuff going on in there, and I think if you just listen to the beat on its own, the song wouldn't be great. Like I think if there were no words, I don't think anyone would listen to just the beat. Mm-hmm. And when you add the words, though, I think the beat really takes on kind of like an additional part. Like I think the beat plays into the song
greater than the sum of their parts or whatever.
Yeah. I think without the words, the beat's garbo, and I think with the words, the beat's actually really cleverly used.
It's kind of, it has space for rapping on it. It's kind of, it's meant to rap on.
Yeah. But that being said, that song overall, I would not listen to it again. That is not in my wheelhouse of music.
Yeah, I can't imagine you driving and this coming on and you being like, yeah, you 40 short.
Yeah, no, that one is just not my vibe, I don't think.
We for these ones, we neither of us listened to the other person's song of the week. So before we recorded or before we started the podcast proper, we both listened to these in front of each other. So I got to see you do the stank face to you 40 short.
Yeah, that deserves just an So what was the other line? You said last week there was 2 lines.
I don't. It was kind of a misogynistic bar, so I didn't want to say it in the thing. But it's every night it's menages something whatever. Made that bitch suck this dick till she says she exhausted.
Yeah.
I love that line just because I think the rhyme scheme is nuts. Also on Conway the Machine's verse, he's the first guy. He follows the same rhyme pattern. The imported Porsche U40 short. Mm-hmm. There's like 8 lines before that follow the same rhyme scheme, and there's 4 after that follow. So like his whole verse is basically that same rhyme scheme. It's crazy.
That's nuts.
It's crazy. Anyway, glad you listened to it. I'm glad you stank face to it. Okay, so your song of the week last week was "Lie to Me" by Vera Blue. That was the most boppy I've heard of any song that you've shown me so far. And I mentioned this to you before, but like before we started doing this, that song has shifts. That song has very kind of clear, distinct shifts in the sound and the what's happening in the song at the time, which kind of goes against what you had kind of previously maybe been into, which is kind of songs that remain consistent and you don't like the changes. So I thought that was interesting. The song is fun throughout the whole thing. It's just different types of fun. And I liked the song quite a bit.
Hey.
I was kind of vibing in the chair over here. It was good.
A lot of my music is for the vibe, and I like that song a lot. I don't know. Maybe all the rap I've listened to that has a lot of changes has slowly been eating away at my, not eating away, but like changing my my view here.
Opening up your mind.
Yeah. But it's like I said, I would love to be able to listen to anything and be like, oh, I can pick up on it, and right. So I don't know. Yeah. I'm glad you like that song. That's
it was a good song.
Vera Blue in general, I really like her songs.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of maybe to a different extent for you is Spurs 3, but Spurs 3 I think is you appreciate what it is, but you do not want to hear it. It's not something that kind of fits into your life.
Yeah.
This song is that for me. It doesn't fit into my life. I don't listen to stuff that sounds this happy. Even though it's called Lie to Me, I don't know how happy it is, but it sounds happy.
Yeah.
Except for some songs. I don't know, whatever. Point is, this doesn't really fit on my playlist. But I do appreciate it. So my song of the week was difficult. I had a hard time not finding a song of the week, but deciding on my song of the week. There was a ton of music that came out this past week. Action Bronson has a new album that I listened to, and I wasn't in the right headspace for it, so I didn't really get to appreciate it the way I should have. But that was cool. I don't know if you know who Action Bronson is.
I've heard the name, never listened.
He's the chef man. He's large. He has television shows. I'm sure Reyes loves him.
He probably does.
Okay.
I'm sure.
He's hilarious too. Anyway, he used to be a chef. Now he's a rapper and still a chef, but not like. Anyway, Action Bronson, Lil Peep. One of his early mixtape / albums was
Lilliam Piepernickel.
Lilliam Piepernickel. His stuff was put on Spotify. It's called Hellboy. I had never listened to it before, but I've heard good things about it. Really, really liked a lot of the stuff on there. I think Lil Peep's music has like such a distinct, unique sound. Lil Peep died.
Oh, all right.
Again, you'll always forget that certain musicians died. I don't have to keep reminding you, but it's okay. I think Lil Peep is really great. I love a lot of the music on Hellboy. What else came out? King of the Fall by The Weeknd is a 6-year-old song that was finally released on Spotify. I think it's a great song. Just listening to that again. But Travis Scott put out a song called Franchise on Friday. And he had been hyping. Is it
related to the McDonald's stuff?
I don't know. I think it's related to something. Christopher Nolan sent him a letter. I don't care. Okay. I don't care. It's a song, and he was hyping it up and played the beat, and was like I said, kind of playing snippets on his Twitter of like the thing of him making the beat or whatever, and kind of setting this tone of what the song would be. And he sold this merch, these giant white T-shirts. Because I don't know if you're familiar, but like 2006-ish, there was kind of this. It's called like the Snap era, where the music kind of always had this in between it, like Damn Franchise Boys and other kind of stuff. But there's a song called White Tee. It's like, yup, Emma White Tee, and it snapped between it. It was kind of a very distinct sound of that time. And Travis Scott put out these giant white tees, and one of them just says yup on it. And I was like, okay, this song is going to have kind of a sample of them Franchise Boys, going to have a certain feel. No relation at all to them. I have no idea what was going on. Anyway, he was hyping up the song and said it featured Young Thug and MIA. MIA is the Paper Planes lady. So, watched the video the second it came out. Hated the song. Thought it was awful. I hated it. I hated the way that Young Thug came in and he kind of was barely on it. I hated MIA's part. I thought Travis Scott's rapping was bad. I thought the beat overall was not fun or interesting or good. But something about it made me want to hear it again. So I listened to it again. And I watched the video again, and there's a part where MIA is doing her verse, and she's saying something lippy, and I make him buy me chippy chippies or something like that. But when she's doing it, she's wearing like a full ghillie suit made of flowers, and she's in the middle of this field full of sheep, and she's doing this weird little like this type of thing, and it's like very fun to watch that part. I like MIA, so it's just like, it was interesting. I'm saying there's little appealing little glimmers of stuff that I liked in the song that I did not. But I kept coming back to it, and I keep listening to it. I keep playing it on repeat in the car because I just want to hear it again, and I keep hearing things in the beat that I didn't notice before, all that kind of stuff. Point is, my song of the week is Travis Scott Franchise, because that song is actually awesome. It grew on me to this point where I still want to just keep listening to it. It was going to be OMFG by Lil Peep. I thought that song was really good, but I decided last minute it's Franchise. Because I'm not lying to myself. I love that song.
All right, I will give this one a listen. I'm interested. I'm probably just gonna watch a music video for it. I really would like to see a person in a ghillie suit in a sheep field dancing.
It's made of flowers though. She's wearing like a full flower suit, and she's just doing this in the field and like this to the beat. But it's just cool looking. The whole thing has an aesthetic.
Nice.
But anyway, yeah, maybe you'll hate it, but we'll see next week.
I don't know. I've never listened to anything by Travis Scott, and I actually only know MIA
from Paper Planes.
In Paper Planes. I've never heard Paper Planes.
I'm sure you have.
What is? Give me.
It's from Pineapple Express. So all I want to do is.
Oh, okay. I do know MIA.
And take your money.
Yeah,
it's her.
Okay, I did not know that was her.
Yeah, she's got some other songs too. That's her big one.
I'm sure she does.
Yeah, she is 45 years old.
What?
And in that video, she looks not 45 years old. She looks great. So it's a fun video to watch.
Isn't that like a rap man, Pharrell Williams, who's like 50, but he looks like he's 12?
Yeah, Pharrell hasn't aged ever. He is, I think, within a year or two of Snoop Dogg. And
Snoop Dogg looks hella old.
Snoop Dogg looks hella old. Yeah. So that's that whole thing. People kind of joked that Pharrell's a vampire or whatever, but yeah, he doesn't age.
Nice.
Yeah.
So a couple episodes ago,
yes,
we had a challenge, right?
There's a theme for the song of the week.
It was a theme. So I'm actually gonna just give you this is partially challenge, partially a rapid fire question that isn't rapid fire, because there's no way you would. There is a world where you haven't answered this question, but I would rather you got some time to think about it.
Okay.
So this doesn't have to be your song of the week for next week, but
okay.
I'd like you to take the lyrics of a song and turn them into a dialogue.
Oh, okay.
So, for example, I looked this up specifically for this purpose, right? So, if we looked at apple bottom jeans,
okay,
all right, and let's imagine two people, right? One guy's a little sick, he's a little under the weather. His friend went out to the club. Mm-hmm. His friend comes back, he's a little tipsy, and the sick man is like, "Hey man, how's the club?" And he goes, "Shorty had the Shotty had them apple bottom jeans," and the guy just goes, "Jeans?"
Okay, got
Boots
it.
with fur. Fur? With the fur? The whole club was looking at her. She hit the floor. She hit the floor? Next thing you know, Shotty got low.
Okay.
Oh? Low, okay. low. I'd like you to take lyrics and turn them into a dialogue.
So this is I feel like this is inspired by your love or your recent discovery of hip hop ad libs and kind of this like weird conversation that happens in the back.
Yes.
Okay.
Partially that, and also because apple bottom jeans was legitimately in a commercial, and I was like, huh.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I'd heard that song, and I was like, I know this song, but there were no words to it. They were just playing the beat, and I was like, Yeah. Are we moved on that much from like songs that I remember from my youth, and now they're just being used.
That's a classic now.
Elevator music, basically.
Yeah, it's also funny because like apple bottom jeans is for sure the most interesting or like the most memorable part of the thing that Shorty had, whatever. Yeah. But the song is called Low, so it's like it's weird how songs kind of get that thing of like I know exactly what song you're talking about because that's the part of the song. It's just weird how that stuff like hooks into your brain and that's the part you remember. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really excited for what you bring out because hip hop has a lot more lyrics than I usually listen to.
There's pressure on me. Okay, yeah, that'll be fun. I'll come up with something hopefully interesting.
I was originally gonna try to use X Gon Give It To You for this example one, and then I was reading through the lyrics a couple of days ago, and I was like, "There's no way I can make this work.
Yeah,
I'm too white. I'm too white on the inside. I'm already struggling with apple bottom jeans, and that's as white as like hip hop can get, I imagine."
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so there's a thing on here that says rapid fire question. Is that
yes? There is a rapid fire question.
Okay, so. All right. Rapid fire questions. Okay,
let's say you became a huge streamer, right?
Okay.
Streaming like millions of people.
Okay.
What would be your streamer persona?
Ooh. Okay, when you say persona, what do you mean?
So, like, you probably wouldn't stream like 100% Joseph, right? You'd probably stream like some amount of like fake Joseph, just because like, right? Because you can't just be yourself.
I really have a hard time putting on a facade. I really don't like it. It makes me hurt on the inside when I have to be fake. So I don't think I could do it. I think I would have to be full on Joseph. Otherwise I can't be streaming. Like I can't put on a hey YouTube. Like I'm sure there's something that we could do with these videos and we can kind of add something fake to them to bring in viewers. Mm-hmm. I do not want to do it because I cannot do it. It kills me. I can't be fake. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if I had to pick a persona, I guess I would have to go like full on and be the wildest version of something that is not me. So I can keep a separation. So I can at least like, instead of feeling like it's lying, it's feeling like it's acting. Mm. What would be my persona? I don't know. I'd probably be really into wrestling. I would probably like be super into WWE and be really concerned about the meta and never acknowledge that it's not real. Just constant, like basically be a WWE character. watching WWE.
You do live streams of you watching WWE with in character?
Yeah,
that'd be hilarious. Actually,
I couldn't do it because I don't have that in me to like, unless I do research on WWE to like talk about it or whatever. Because acting is fun. Like we used to do drama together, and that kind of stuff was fun because it's here's a role, play the role, do that whole thing. So I guess I would have to kind of like flesh out this character I'm making up.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I said I would just be my brother.
He is a streamer personality.
He is a streamer personality. I said, like, listen, like, he's kind of dude, bro, kind of lame, right? Like, I 100% think that if anybody I know had the personality to be a streamer, it's got to be him.
It's got to be Reyes.
Yeah,
I would watch him just do anything because he's just very fun to like watch.
We have to get him on the podcast when he's in town again.
Yeah. Sounds good. Sorry, I was just thinking. Next episode's 50. What are we doing?
Originally, we were gonna get my friend who knows Unity, but I not talked to him about it.
I thought that was 51.
Okay, well, I better talk to him about it this week then.
Okay.
I don't know. Does Snowy want to join us for 50?
I can ask her, sure, but I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I mean, we could just do a regular episode, but we can kind of. I don't know if you want to do anything special for 50. I don't know.
I didn't really have anything planned for 50 this time. I think I had stuff planned for the other ones, but I'm not sure. I don't know what to do is the problem. There's not like fun stuff available for us to like do as like a group, like you and me, and then like come back and talk about it, like fun, get energized. Like I just like every day. It seems like every other day.
Yeah. We can go to like an all-you-can-eat buffet. We can hit up to Golden Corral.
Oh god, we can go to Olive Garden again and upset some older ladies.
Oh yeah, by holding hands at the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. There's a time we went to Olive Garden a long time ago, and everybody thought we were like together, and so we kind of played into it a little bit. Anyway,
we played into that a lot. That has been a running joke for us.
We made the older people very uncomfortable.
We did. We also made an elderly gentleman. Maybe we just tell stories. Maybe that's what episode 50 is.
Maybe that can be the about us.
Yeah, might actually be hilarious if we just told stories to let people get to know us.
Yeah, like my mom told me early feedback was episode 20. She was like, you should do a video kind of describing how you know each other and about you. Kind of, we've done weird passing little like, remember middle school, but we should probably do it a little bit more in depth on this.
This is a one-sided story. Yeah, we should. I think maybe that's what we do for episode 50. Is an about us episode.
I feel like Synovia can have some input there too, so it'll be kind of more of a conversation. We'll see if she wants to do it.
Yeah, I mean, if Synovia, if she's going to be on, she's going to have to be moderated a little bit, because if you and I are going to go off into the weeds telling stories, we're going to just go off into the weeds telling stories.
Yeah, we don't know.
There is no like middle ground. Like either we're like this, or we're gone.
Yeah,
we turn our brains off and go for like 4 hours.
Yeah, it's a real problem. It's kind of okay for a podcast, but not for anybody to listen to it.
Yeah, it's also not okay in like regular day-to-day life.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, hopefully Synovia is down to be on that episode then, because she's gonna have to definitely be in charge.
Oh shit!
Oh,
just realized next Sunday at 5 I'm busy, but we can figure out something to.
Okay, maybe we move it to Saturday, because next Sunday is also our test. Her test, rather.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And I get nervous before those anyway.
Cool. Well, the episodes will still come out Wednesday always. We will never miss a day unless I die or something, or you die. Maybe you die, I'll still record.
You'll record from the funeral house.
Yeah, just do like a camera up at the front. It's like, hey guys, this is the content for this week.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, that's about it for me.
Right on, man. Well, like we said last time, I get through the outro this time. Thanks everyone for listening. As always, our music was completely done by our friend Tynan, or at Nitan on Bandcamp. You can catch us on Twitter at homegames.io, or on our website at homegames.io. Yeah, we'll catch you next week.
Thank you for listening.